All right, time to pack up. On location, beachy bikini photo extravaganza. Let's see, which lenses do I bring? I'm definitely going to want to take some closely cropped portraits, but maybe also some wider shots, maybe a mid-range zoom. I'm not sure that's going to get me close enough though. A telephoto zoom? Maybe both. I don't know, that's kind of a big kit to lug around the airport than for anything else that I end up doing. Because you know I'm not leaving that stuff in the hotel room. Well, maybe if there's a safe. I mean, is there a safe? Shoot, I have no idea. Anyway, suck it up, girl. Carry the stuff around if you need to. Okay, do I bring a prime lens too? I do love those. Oh, a flash. I am definitely going to need to bring one of those, just in case, for a little bit of fill light. I mean, maybe anyway. I don't know. Who knows what the light will be like. Okay, I'm just going to bring the camera, the mid-range zoom, the telephoto zoom, and the flash. No prime. I'm gonna be at the beach. Do I really want to risk this stuff? Maybe I should just bring primes. I mean, I am getting paid to do this, so maybe it's worth the risk. I owe them my best, right? Wait a minute. My best isn't tied to my gear. It's all about timing, light, and location, as I always say. Shoot, I gotta focus. Okay, that's it. Just this. And maybe a prime lens too. Shoot, which prime lens? Oh, man, I need to choose a backup body, and I need a couple of extra batteries, plus a battery charger, and batteries for the flash. Oh, yeah, and their charger too. Do I need a card reader for either of these cameras? Oh, yeah, and my computer, I'll need that too, and the charger, portable hard drive. Man, I'm gonna need a bigger bag. I think we all do it. Stand there and have an internal dialogue, remembering all of the things that I need. I'm always thinking that I'm going to get away with less, and then I always throw a prime lens in there, and then I feel bad for not bringing one of my cameras or lenses. I know they don't actually have feelings, but I still feel sad for the ones that get left behind. Anyway, in this video, I will share ways that I choose gear, along with what kind of concessions I make and how it all gets packed up and transported. During the video, I will share photos from part 2 of SnapChick Bikini 2017, a prime example of when I traveled for a photo shoot, choosing the gear as the photographer and as the model, by the way. And at the end of the video, I will share more about how you can see all of the images from the shoot, plus a video of how I edited the photos. Now, before I get started with all of that, a disclaimer. If I'm traveling for fun rather than for a job, I don't fret about the gear. I bring what I bring, and I use it without looking back. In fact, I have a video about that. You can find it at the link above. But traveling for work is different. In my case, I was planning the photography of the shoot as well as the modeling, which makes it both easier and more difficult, incidentally, but I think that's a topic for another video. But for a job, I'm going to be a little more choosy about what I put in my camera bag. Okay, enough chit-chat. Let's start with how I pick out the cameras and lenses that I will bring, plus all of the other miscellaneous stuff that I need. The first thing I think about is, what am I shooting? Portraits, single portraits or group portraits, or sports, or an event. I pretty much know what I like to use for each genre of photography, but I do vary it. All primes, just zooms. Do I need to have big constant aperture zooms? But my final decision will depend on the look that I want for the final images, the environment that I'll be in, and frankly, my mood. By environment, I mean the location. Inside, outside, where outside? Are we talking a parking lot in the city, or in the desert in the middle of nowhere, or the beach, as was the case for this shoot? If it is outside, I also think about weather and time of day. Do I expect to be dealing with the sun, clouds, maybe rain or snow? Whatever the expected conditions, I want to bring the gear that won't get destroyed. Like if there's a probability of rain or I'm shooting on the beach very near the water, I'm looking at the more weather-sealed gear. Now, I mean, you can never be sure of the weather, but there comes a point when you just have to make a decision. If you don't trust the forecast, though, assume the worst. Other thoughts might be, if I'm shooting in lower light conditions, I'm looking for my lenses that are the best in low light. If I'm hiking, I'm definitely considering weight. Along with all of that, if I am in a higher risk situation, like I was at the beach, where I was near the water, or if I'm hiking a trail that may have water or I'll be rock scrambling, I'll be thinking about what I'm willing to risk. In the case of this shoot, did I really want Raymond to be wading into the waves to take the photos that I want, using or wearing a backpack full of my most expensive gear? I certainly don't want my camera bag like sitting up on the beach by itself while we're in the water. So in this case, I split the difference by cutting back on the stuff that I brought. One body and a mid-range zoom along with a flash to bring down to the beach. I had a few other things left in the hotel room, the extra batteries and the backup camera body and such, but I left the big telephoto lens at home and the primes. If I were shooting something for someone else though, I may have made different decisions, like maybe make sure that I have an assistant to hold extra gear on the beach away from the water. Okay, next I figure out how I'm going to be transporting my gear. 9 times out of 10, I want all of my gear to fit into one camera bag so that it's easy to carry and stays organized in one place. I'm certainly not checking any gear if I'm flying, so it needs to be small enough to go with me. Do I need my hiking pack? This is where I end up making concessions. I really figure out what I'll need, or what I think I'll really need, and what I'm willing to carry. When I'll be carrying it on my back, all of a sudden, I start thinking I don't need as much stuff. And when I start thinking about all of the extra stuff, like would I be better served to use the extra space in my camera bag for more batteries and memory cards than yet another lens? One last thing I think about is backups. I am persistent in backing up my images when I'm working. I like to have at least one backup before I leave the shoot. And then I really like to have one more as soon as I can. I may already have one backup in the camera because sometimes I'll shoot to both memory cards. The first is primary and the second as backup. Other options are a computer. My tiny little MacBook Air comes in handy there. Or I've also used my iPad Pro. I have a portable hard drive. I also like to use cloud storage, but I need internet for that, so it isn't always a possibility. There might be other factors. If I'm traveling internationally and I need to toss an AC adapter in my bag, I'm certainly scaling the gear depending on the job. Typically, the bigger the job, the more gear. But those are pretty much the steps that I take when I think about packing up gear for a job. I've been sharing photos during this video from the second half of SnapChick Bikini 2017. I have shared one more photo on my site. You can find it at the link below. VIPs and Patreon Zion and Beyond patrons, you can log in while you're there to see the full gallery of images from part 1 and part 2, and also behind the scenes videos. Part 1 was on the beach and during the shoot. In part 2, I share my editing process, the software I used, how and why I made my editing choices. And if you are at all interested in my VIP program or my Patreon page, you can find more information on those things at that same link below. Okay, so everyone has a different process for this, I'm sure. I'd love to hear from you. Do you stand in front of your gear and have the internal tug of war like I sometimes do? Share how you plan and pack for a photography job in the comments below. And thanks for watching. I love you, and I love you, and you, and you. I wish I could take you all.